Do you have your staff ready? Let's go on a journey over the lake, through the woods, into the deep fog and up Smaug's mountain. Come and join me on Relaxation Oil Painting. Okay, let's do something dark today. I'm going to bring my midnight black in. I'll do a dark sky. I've already primed this 18 by 24 inch canvas with the liquid white, which allows the paint to mix right on. I'm going to just use the straight black here, loading up the brush with a lot of paint. This should go a long way. Let's make a gray sky. Cloudy sky. So I'm going to start here at the top, working with crisscross strokes, looking for gray, dark, ominous sky. And just a touch of Prussian blue just to change the hue a bit. And as the sky comes down, it picks up the white and gets lighter toward the horizon. Kind of a dark, windswept sky. No sun, not today. And just a super basic sky. Let's bring in some blue down the bottom. I'm leaving the brush the same way it was, just adding some dark blue down here. Again, because the canvas is covered in liquid white, the paint, which is a stiff paint, moves quite nicely. What we're doing is just preparing the canvas for the top layer of detail here. Darker on the edge, which gives it more natural depth. Plenty of dark down here. Just working my way across, keeping the lines fairly straight. Leaving the center a little lighter, which is where, if there was a light source of sun, would hit. There we go. So we're just setting a basic canvas here. Let's start to add some clouds in. I'm going to start with some black clouds. Let's see. What type of brush to use? We'll use a fan brush, and I'm just adding, again, straight black here. Ominous clouds. farther away the clouds are, the thinner. When they get closer, they kind of thicken up in the center. Coming in from both sides. I often squint when I'm painting because I like to see the fine detail. So I find that squinting allows me to focus on the point that I'm trying to paint the most. Don't need a wide vision for this style. And you can spend as much time as you want on this sky, or as little. As you know from my previous paintings, I like to do dramatic skies most of the time. Depends on the subject of the painting. This one I want to make a little bit more prominent. Now, using another fan brush, just going into the straight titanium white. Lots of paint on the brush. Adding in some white at the very top. And then in a minute we'll blend it. This gives some depth to your clouds. Now I'm going to use this is just a simple 2-inch feather brush to start to blend this together. So now if I make small circles, the lines start to blend from black to white to gray and every shade in between. Starting to soften these up. And I'm very lightly softening these clouds. Getting rid of a lot of these brush strokes. And this just softens the sky. Pushes it back far, far away. Very distant. But don't kill all those details. Isn't that nice? So as you can see, there's a little bit of light in the clouds. If I move this lamp, you can see the detail. This is a cold lamp. I have a warm and a cold. This is a kind of a natural daylight here. A white bright light. I also have a warm lamp. Now let's make a distinct mountain. I'm going to wash a brush, please excuse me. In this painting I want to make a dark mountain, a single mountain, Smaug's mountain. I don't want any light detail on this. I want it to be ominous and far away. Mount Doom, perhaps. To do that, we'll just use black. Getting out my palette knife. I am using a mixture of brown, alizarin crimson, Prussian blue, and black. Just making a very dark color. On the cold side, color should look black. The blue is much stronger than the other colors, so I'm just going to use a little bit. And this is a good mountain color. Drawing the paint out, cutting a stroke across, small roll of paint, and let's begin this giant mountain. The mountain should be large but fairly far away. How far up into the sky do we want to go with this? I do want quite a bit of sky. Let's put the mountain. Can always go taller later. Moving up. Just scraping the paint into the canvas here. I don't want this to be a typical mountain. So I'm just concerned about the outside edge here. I don't care about what happens in the middle. It's the outside edge I'm looking for. Almost volcano-like. And then I'm just blending the bottom. Just going to take a little bit of that color and just a touch of white to brighten it just a bit. And then using this color, ever so slightly touching. Adding just a touch of highlight. Very little detail. And I'm just gonna fix the tip using a liner brush. And for some mist around the bottom, let's see, let's use this. Just grabbing straight white here. I want this mountain to appear far away. In kind of cloud cover. So I'm making circles here. Really just blending the bottom out. Just want the peak to be through. So you can see we have kind of an interesting mountain shape. It looks like perhaps a night sky, or I picture this as Mount Doom or the Lonely Mountain from The Hobbit. Something really almost fantastical, something that wouldn't be a natural formation, thrown up from the depths of the earth over millennia. We'll just see that mountain pop up out of nowhere, but something that would attract a traveler, mountain climber, explorer, or hobbit with a ring. Just kind of an unnatural mountain. Different. Unnatural. And then moving down into the mid-ground, because I'm going to leave all that the way it is. I'm not going to touch that at all. We might have some... I'm going to create kind of a flat bottom using brown. Let's just use straight brown for now, see where this goes. Yeah, I want this to be kind of dirt here. Filling in this brown area. Heavily blended. I want this to be quite soft. Not a lot of detail here. Really blending that line so we don't know where the fog meets. So now you can see this plot of land underneath it. Perhaps a line of trees to push it back. But before I do that, I want to make sure I get rid of this little thing. Quite often when you're painting, you'll find that the brushes are not the best made, so you'll find pieces of brush, pieces of paint, pieces of canvas are always going to get in your way. Don't be afraid of that. Just pick them right off and fix it. Now what I think I'll do is I'm going to make a line of trees. Adjust this light here. I want to push that mountain back even farther. So I'll create a line of trees in the front, which will push that mountain further back. I want a sense of vertical depth here. Since it's such a tall canvas, we have a lot of room to work. But again, I want to keep a fairly monochrome color. Let's use, let's see what kind of brush I'm going to use. Let's use this round brush. And for this color, I'm going to use, I'm going to get a little bit of sap green here. Not too much. Using the mountain color and some sap green, because I want this super dark. I'm going to load the brush up with lots of color. Just tapping it into the bristles will make some cool tree tops. That's good right there. And we'll start to lay a tree line. Looks like thousands of trees. This is going to push back that mountain quite a bit, which is what I'm looking for. Just adding dark color here. These are not pine trees, these are going to be some other type, I don't know, but see how I'm constantly changing the color. I don't want the same tree color here. Dark, dark trees. Maybe this is the edge of Mirkwood Forest, right? For those of you who know what I'm talking about. So we have a nice little quick tree line there, which now really pushes that mountain back. So now you have another obstacle. Your adventuring party has to go through this lake, through the woods, into the fog, into the fields, to the dark mist, to the base of this misty mountain here. And what I can do, if you just look here, is just take these and I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Taking these trees up. Then by taking a 2-inch brush, we just pull and create reflections in the water. And that quickly you have instant reflections of the trees in the giant pond or the giant lake. Now I'm going to take a liner brush, a small one, get some white and some paint thinner. A little bit of gray. I want this kind of a gray color. I'm going to start adding in some small tree trunks here, which give the illusion of tree branches. If I did these in a dark color, you would never see it. So you have to always use light against dark. And what that does is it fools the eye. It creates an illusion. Even though there aren't too many trees with gray bases. But by adding these lines, your eye can see more detail at the base of the forest. So I'm just adding in a bunch of these, and then we'll break them up. What I can do while I have this brush out is quickly clean it. And to make this more ominous, I'm going to add the liquid to the black. And creating a couple of dead trees that come up. Just adding in a couple. So it's not such a perfect line. Now, using my knife, I'm going to get some just using some of the liquid white right out of the container. So that I can draw a water line. This little line will just separate the land from the water. You'll see what happened there. Easily fixed. This is a really nice brush for creating trees. Love it. Now let's create a little bit of foreground. So we have our mountain, our dark sky, our forest, our lake. We could leave it like that and keep it very simple, which some people prefer. I'm definitely not going to put much of a foreground because I want to leave it open and airy. This I don't like. I want to fix this. So what I love about this, again, this technique is if you see something you don't like with brush strokes or the way something looks, you literally just go in and fix it. Yeah, that's it. Love this technique. I used to spend hours trying to do small detail, and I found that sometimes the faster you go, the better it comes out. So what do you want to do? Do you want to leave it there or keep going? Because we definitely have to make a choice. It's up to you. If I keep going, I'm going to alienate half of you. If I keep it where it is, I'm going to alienate half of you. To me, when I look at the bottom, that's kind of a lazy way to leave it. It's not a wrong way, because art is subjective, so you can do whatever you want when you paint. But if I just threw some blue there and left this as a really basic layman's lake, to me it looks lazy. Looks like I haven't done more than I should. And usually a painting has some sort of foreground to give that perspective. If I leave it plain, I'm going to add some more detail at the bottom so that it's not so bland. The reflection of the mountain would not be in the lake. So those of you who say, why isn't the mountain reflected in the lake? It's because the mountain is several miles back. The mountain is not near this. You have the woods, you have quite a bit of travel to get to the base of the mountain. So because the mountain is far back, you're not going to have the reflection as if it was close. Let's bolster up this water. How I'm going to do that is I'm using more dark. Making the edges much darker than they were before, to give this more depth. Now did you see how I'm dragging this across? By doing that, it makes the water more interesting. Definitely makes it deeper. Really deep water. Now to me, that's much more interesting. Did you see how much I darkened that? To leave it. So by darkening the edges, it makes it look deeper, more rich. Maybe there's a lot of life in there. If it's too light, it doesn't look as deep. I'm going to try something. I don't know if it'll work. If it doesn't, we'll just get rid of it. I'm going to clean a 2.5 inch brush. Wipe it off. And I'm going to add some white to the middle, and I'm just going to see what that looks like. I don't know if this will work or not. We'll see. Going into the straight titanium white. Now about adding these lines in, that does add nicely. I like it. It really does. I don't know if the camera's going to be able to pick that up. But adding these little highlights here in the water, which is an experiment for me, is working. What that's doing is it's just adding a touch of a shimmer. Just a touch of a shimmer off of the water. And I really like that. It's raising the paint up ever so slightly. I like it. Gives a little momentum, little motion to the water here. Adding a little bit more darkness because I really want these trees to stick out as dark. Yes. So what do you think? Was it smart? Was it wise of me not to do a foreground? Because that's what I'm choosing not to do. I think if we are making this more of a fantasy painting, we have no rules. So if I'm making this kind of a painting from my imagination, if I'm in the mood of The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, or some sort of movie like Dragon Slayer or something, I really want to make sure that I can paint what I'm thinking. And what I had in mind before I started this was a single mountain in my mind. I had a little vision of it. And then I had a vision of a straight tree line and a lake, and that was it. I didn't have a vision of any foreground. Not that a foreground is bad, but it takes your eye away from the subject, which in this case is the mountain. The subject is without a doubt, how do I get to there? And for me, crossing the lake and that forest into that fog, this is the area of interest. I could even see giant birds or dinosaurs or pterodactyls or dragons flying. Anything, any type of creature you can put your mind to. But my focus is this area. So this isn't as important. And if I had put land here, which again wouldn't be bad, I could put two hills coming down, you know, as in a river going in. You can paint whatever you want. In your painting, in your world, you can make whatever you wish. But for today, I think that's good. I want to make it very simple. Very soft, very dark. Definitely not your happy sunny day type of painting. But there it is. I hope you like it. I think it's pretty simple. I do like it. To me it conjures up mystery. Leaves me with more questions than answers. This is a very simple painting. It was done in no time at all. I hope that you start to paint, those of you who are out there watching, start to create somehow, whether it be with a brush or whatever you wish to create with, but just pick up something and start to create so that more of these pictures come out of our minds to share with the rest of the world. Very simple painting. Anyone can do it. Just have to get the supplies and have the will to sit and be brave and experiment and make mistakes and get back up and try again and fail and practice and waste a lot of canvas and a lot of paint and a lot of frustrating hours wondering what you could have done much better. For now, we'll leave it as is. Now, let's think of a name. I don't want to rip off The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and call it Lonely Mountain or Mount Doom or anything. Thinking of a name is not easy. I don't know. I can't think of one right now, but before the video goes up, I will have thought of a name. I need to think about it. And what I like to do is step away from whatever I do, whether it's creating music, when I finish a song or a composition on the piano, I put everything away, I turn the power off. After I paint, I clean the brushes, I walk away, I come back a few hours later, and usually a title will come to mind instantly. But I need to get away from this now because I've spent too much time on it. I'll go do something else and then we'll come back and name it. For now, I really want to thank you for watching this series. It really brings me a lot of joy to be able to sit and create. And many years ago when I started to paint, we didn't have a camera back then, but I like the idea of just filming this and sharing it with you a couple of hours a week where we can spend time together and just sit and relax and take a nap, fall asleep, listen to some good music on a rainy afternoon when you don't have to work or might have some free time to yourself without the kids around. or you're just feeling good. Life is pretty good. The bills are paid, and you might have had a glass of wine or cold beer, and you can just kind of relax and sit with me as I create, and of course instantly judge it in your mind whether you hate it or like it. It's okay. Art is subjective. And believe me, I as the artist am always going to judge my work the harshest. There is no harder critic on what I paint or create or do in my martial arts daily job that I haven't already scrutinized 100 different ways and criticized and judged. And that self-judgment is what drives me to be better than I was yesterday. It's certainly not to the point where I ever give up or quit, because I am not a quitter. But I do try to improve a little bit each day and listen to other people's opinions. There you have it. The name will come soon. For now, thank you for watching Relaxation Oil Painting. I wish you all the best. Have a great day.